Pero okay lang yun. So, after 2 hours, babawasan na yung fats ko, Joyce. That's probably as a result of all those slides. That's okay. Kasi we gain weight, I gain weight. May explanation talaga sa barangay. All right. So at this point, while the technical is preparing the online theme of the awards, let me just join you with our invocation of prayers. So we all stand for some prayers. Let's put ourselves in the presence of God in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Almighty Father, we thank you for this gathering. Thank you for safe travels for our members coming from all over the Philippines. We thank you for keeping our faith in you. We thank you for work. We thank you for friendship, for family, for deep engagement with the other sectors. Please bless our partners, institutional partners, and our supporters, our sponsors today, that they appreciate what we do in the Philippine Press Institute and in the individual organizations who are our news outlets that carry the torch of excellence in journalism. Lord, we always pray to you that you guide us so that we can do better with our work and we can do a lot more next year. Please we ask in Christ our Lord. Amen. Amen. In the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Kami ni Joyce, meron kami susunod na programa, pero wala kami script. Diba? So, relax lang tayo. Pinagpapawisan ko ako, pero hindi ako kinakabahan. Next year pa ako kakabahan yan kasi double think on the next time ng Joyce, diba? All right. Unfortunately, the resident representative of Hansel Foundation will not be able to make it. His flight from Germany is canceled. His new flight will be up 4 p.m. today, but he's ably represented by the program coordinator of Hansel Foundation, Caroline Lee, and we thank you for gracing the event today alongside our institutional partner, Legal Asia Corporation in the flesh. Mr. J.D. by law. Yeah.
We will call them. We will start
officially start. Dito lang kami kasi yung mga panauing padala namin doon namin sila. All right.
So we will call first Ms. Caroline Lee to give the keynote speech of Attorney Gus.
Hi.
Okay. and Cyber Foundation.
Round of applause for Caroline. Caroline, you can go to our stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, Joyce. Thank you very much, Ariel. I'm Caroline Lee, Program Coordinator of the Zidel Foundation. Standing in for Mr. Heineken, President Representative of the Zidel Foundation. Perhaps after several years of working with the PPI, more of you have an idea about the foundation by now. We've been active here in the Philippines, working with local partners for more than 40 years, working with both state agencies as well as civil society organizations, such as, of course, the Philippine Press Institute. So today, I'm here to talk about a little bit about this, the Philippine Press Institute PPI News Commons project. Today, I'm actually really honored to be here observing this milestone for the PPI News Commons, because before, when it was just mentioned to us by Ariel, it was a concept, it's an idea. There were already structures in mind, but today we see a better idea of how it has evolved to after several years. I recall, as a child, we would have, as perhaps many of you, newspaper subscriptions, right? You would subscribe to a newspaper. It will be perhaps in certain neighborhoods thrown in by the guy riding the bicycle. A few years ago, I still saw some of them going around doing that. Or you go to the newsstand, you have these small tables, rickety tables, on top of which you have these newspapers, corners of the neighborhood, and you go and you buy your newspaper and you read your news. We have been seeing that less and less these past years. And then a lot of the information have been pushed more and more into the cybersphere. So earlier, Ariel was expressing his thanks to the Zidel Foundation, to the Asia Corporation, to everyone who came together to help make this project come true. Help to realize this concept. And I would say it's actually teamwork that made it work. Somebody came up with the idea, and with the idea in mind also to help our community newspapers. And somebody was able to reach out to us. And people, especially those of you who came in with the content, submitted the content, and voila, after all that hard work of making things work together, you now have the PPI News Commons up and running. Now today, I was earlier talking about having to go in the past of go out to buy your news. You can still do that, that's still an option open to you. But more and more, if you would notice, news is shown right in front of you. In social media, the internet, things pop up left and right. In fact, what is gaining popularity nowadays are apps that you can cut down on ads, that can sort of help protect your time online so that you can focus because of all these things that are coming in left and right. It's more like a push notification now when it comes to news. There's so much information online. Some people refer to it as an infodemic, that you have to really focus on curating the information you let in to the limited time that you have in one day, right? So now with PPI News Commons, you have people who are more connected. In fact, it's called a shared network. You have people who are better informed when they come into the PPI News Commons, and more importantly, from the communities, for our local journalists. I was speaking with Mr. Sir Ronnie earlier, Mr. Rolando Estadillo, and he mentioned that the feedback was there is a high level of trust on news coming from our local journalists, our local news community. And that is important because for the news commons to be the run-to for news, once you have established that, then you know that people will have it in their minds to refer to the news PPI News Commons as a reliable source of news, a vetted source. So people are not only more connected and they are better informed. And once that builds up, you know, your fellow community journalists would also want to be able to reach that group of people who are looking for the real news from the ground. And the other important thing about that is you have now information who gets who from the ground, from the community journalists, and with that people are more, the public are more, is more informed, empowered to take action. Not just refer to mainstream media news, but they know that they're getting news from the ground. They know that this is vetted information, and they are better empowered to take action on them. So that is the PPI News Commons, as I understand it now. And the admirable thing about that is, and Ariel mentioned this earlier about innovation. Somebody once said that the seeds of our downfall are sown when we're at the pinnacle of our success. So at some point, PPI has a good number of national and community newspapers. And it's a very active group, very well recognized group since 1964, but that is not enough. So Ariel, the board, and the whole team comes forward. No, we need to innovate, we need to adapt. I understand also this was especially verbalized by Mr. Estadillo to bring people together to do this. And this is the innovation. The next step for a group of community journalists, for a group of newspaper outlets, From the time that PPI News Commons was introduced in December 2019, and the Anzana Foundation began to support it in May 2020. From then on until now, there have been more than 14,000 articles uploaded. That's quite a lot. There are 53 contributing members. So I would see that as a rolling, yeah. Around I would see that as something in progress, what I was trying to say. And that's the innovation there. And the way I see it, it's keeping on growing and innovating because you've now integrated an income, a sustainability aspect into the PPI News Commons. And that counts for a lot of foresight. And with that, the next step I see would be continued engagement of both fellow journalists, community journalists, as well as, of course, the most important part for civic journalism of the community. So that they are taking active part, they're making good use, substantial use of the content in PPI News Commons, and they become more engaged citizens, they make better informed decisions. So with that, the 3 points I believe are teamwork, innovation, and engagement. And of course, there will for sure be more focuses in the future. But so far, I see that as really key to this project. The Anzana Foundation is really happy, really glad and proud to have been a part of the PPI News Commons. Of course, a lot of work came from the whole team and the whole journalism community. And I just suddenly recall, I forgot one part again at the beginning. So just a few words. I forgot to officially greet everyone here. Of course, Mr. Rolando Estabilio, Mr. Al Pedroche, and we have here Mr. Congressman Adrian Amatong, our partner organizations, friends in the media, friends in the development cooperation sector. A good afternoon to everyone. And of course, congratulations to the winners of the Civic Journalism Awards. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Carol. We get to know more about the PPI News Commons when the chairman himself present a virtual tour of the PPI News Commons. And thanks very much, Carol and Anzana Foundation, in regards to Attorney Gatsmanica, wherever you are. We're live on Facebook right now. We just say hi to all the friends watching us right now on Facebook live streaming. At this point, we mentioned about it's not only being supported by Anzana Foundation as an institutional partner for this PPI News Commons. We cannot do it without also the support of Nickel Asian Corporation. Please welcome. He actually for a long time there.
Yeah.
Diba? Pero hindi na nag-support.
We have to read it.
Yeah, please welcome Sir Jimmy, but a good friend of the PPI. Thanks.
Good afternoon. I will be brief. First, I want to introduce Carl Campo. Carl, would you stand up? Carl used to work for the Inquirer, and I bribed her to join Nickel Asia. So she's with investor relations, but eventually she doesn't know this yet. I will announce it here. Eventually, I will promote her to head of comms for Nickel Asia. We need smart and pretty staff. I'm just smart, not pretty enough. I'll be brief because I was telling Ariel, we actually are in the midst of our budget hearings today. And if I do not go out and defend my budget, there will be no budget for PPI next year. But I'd like to thank the Hans Sano Foundation for supporting this program. I saw the Manila Standard supplement, and the first thing which crossed my mind was, why can't a newspaper like Malaya Philippines? You know, I'm not biased for Malaya because I write a column there. I'm not telling you every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Well, if only all the big papers can do it, then I think it's a very big help, not only for our community papers, but for the Filipino himself to understand what is happening not only within his community, but within his whole country. And that is something we definitely need. So, you know, well, I think a lot of appreciation has to go to the Hans Sano Foundation. It's more than a good thing. And the fact that the favorite phrase I picked up in my first trip to Germany was when I was 19, before the First World War, was good is nicht gut genug. Good is not good enough. And PPI Commons definitely is more than good. So with that, I will reserve my remarks for later and step out so I can get more money for Ariel for tomorrow. Thank you very much.
You can tumawag pero dapat sa iyo. Seryoso yung choice nila. Thanks, sir. Or reserve for later. Okay, can I just mention this? It's a mouthful of a position of... ito ha, saan mabasa ko? Itong ginawa ng pandemic, medyo nasira yung mata ko. Kakahanap sa ring light. Chief Sustainability Officer and Senior Vice President, Sustainability Public Affairs and Communications. Ayan. Thanks, Carl, for joining us.
Alipin niya.
Ayun, oo.
Aspect ng communications.
Pwede nga yung budget ng
Oo, yung budget natin.
Yung screening committee natin, kailangan.
Actually, once our JP said, yeah, lumibig ko sa panatagin, sige na, sir.
Sige na, importante yung...
Go ahead.
Pero ito na, Joyce, kung natin patagalin pa kasi just part 1 of our back-to-back events today. Innovations, mamaya kailangan natin.
Gusto ko lang sagutin pala muna yung tanong ni Sir JD na bakit hindi magawa ng Malaya or ng ibang dyaryo. Kasi nasabi ni Sir Roy, alam mo talaga yan. Ano kayo, kahit nasa edad kong to, mas matibay sa akin ni Sir Roy pagdating sa desk work.
Tsaka sa puyatan.
Oo, sa puyatan.
I just give credit for credit to the chairman of PPI. Great job na talaga ng PPI. I'm very quickly, it's not that diba? Just very quickly, 2019 December, pinisenta niya sa amin sa secretary. Sabi namin,
And that came from someone who's not, or someone that we would not expect to be that savvy or having that kind of foresight.
Correct.
Naunahan niya lahat. He was ahead of the curve. Ahead of everyone.
Long overdue actually.
Oo.
Matagal rin ang pinag-iisipan. Having said that,
ayaw nila.
Siyempre, ayaw nila. So, pero sabi namin, you have to continue to do work, di ba? So, naiintindihan na namin in the course of time.
Yeah.
Sabi namin, let's have a soft launch. Soft pa rin kasi namin, we have the website, etc. Pero this is new sharing with this guy website.
Because actually kind of, how do you say, it was valid, the idea that we planted in 2019 was validated with the pandemic hit.
Right.
That was really an awakening point for everyone.
Very much.
Na shocks, kailangan pala talaga to.
During the pandemic, we realized how important it was that something like this, people is common time being together under one roof, all PPM special committee newspapers outside of the capital. And that was specifically the essence and character of the Philippine press, which is otherwise, pag walang strength, walang strong members, walang PPI, diba?
Yeah.
So,
We're only as strong as our members.
pero merong caveat si Sir, gawa tayo ng innovations, pero dapat may diba? Diba?
Yeah.
Kasi puro tayo
Kailangan sustainable, commercial and sustainable.
Oo, kaya nga ito dapat commercially viable. So dapat ganito yung siguro. Huwag din matagalin pa kasi wala yung presenta. Please welcome the chair, President of the
Roddy,
Sion, publisher of Manila Standard. We're joined with his editor. At nakalimutan natin pakilala sa sarili. Your Joyce and Maria. Please welcome.
Agent below ko.
This is Rolando Rodriguez.
Good afternoon, everyone. No, you're giving me too much credit for. Anyway, as Carol has said, this thing would not have been possible and it did not come together. The project team was really the one who put these things together. I just like to mention, well, of course, again, Joyce, and then yeah, those guys out there. Huh? Anyway, let me just mention first, acknowledge the presence of our Mr. Joby Maurice Yi from the U.S. Embassy. For Mr. J.B. Bailon, but he just stepped out. International Committee of the Red Cross, Rachel Malagit. International Labour Organization, Country of the Philippines, Mr. Hussein Makarabot. And then, of course, our good friend, Carol Lee, Program Coordinator of the Hansider Foundation. There are other guests here from the AIJC, but they will be formally introduced later on by Ms. Ann Lopez. Yeah. So at any rate, we have a lot of things to do today, but let me just say good afternoon to everyone. It's lovely to see you all and welcome to this twin PPI events of Project Launch and Press Awards. They are both the highlights of today's program that we are hoping you will find both exciting and inspiring. But allow me to digress a bit to mark an equally important milestone in the course of our journey with PPI. And that is our coming full circle and back to where we left off about 3.5 years ago. That was 2019. I still vividly recall the first time I stood before you on a similar occasion like this, but in a different venue. By the way, the Hotel Jen is permanently closed for business. It was my official introduction to the PPI family with what back then was a sea of unfamiliar but friendly faces. Any anxiety I felt simply vanished in one reception of the moment. Shortly thereafter, the pandemic suddenly disrupted things and ended the customary face-to-face gatherings. My inaugural appearance at a PPI grand event was for the next 1,000 days. Fast track to the present, with the scourge easing up, relative normalcy returns. Now we find ourselves gathered again in person, though with a cautious approach. Nonetheless, the exuberance of friendship and goodwill has never been lost and still fills the air. Only now I see more familiar faces with hearty smiles willingly shared across the world. Indeed, a fitting sort of coming out occasion after long months of virtual reality via Zoom and other technological wonders. Yes, we are back in the real world of human warmth that can be likened to the coming of a new dawn. And today's event officially marked that. Thank you all for taking part in this special. Now back on the original track of presenting to you a trailblazing PPI project, the PPI Newscom. Before I proceed, I'd just like to thank again the Hansider Foundation for giving us the wherewithal to sustain the project. Part of the project actually was the digitalization of our members. So thank you very much. I'll not dwell too much on details, as most of you are already aware of what we have been working hard on while the pandemic was raging. But for those who are hearing this for the first time, I will briefly walk you through the genesis of the project and its path moving forward. A short video on its progress will conclude this presentation. PPI News Common was born out of our desire to give a new page to the community press members on which they could map out a road in the digital age. We knew then as now what the newspaper industry has been going through since the so-called new media made inroads in the traditional news landscape, a situation exacerbated by the pandemic outbreak. The current economic headwinds swirling within our sector put a lot of pressure on publishers and owners of legacy news outlets on how to carry on and survive well into the future. So the seed of innovation and creativity came about through a news sharing digital platform. So how does it work? Simple cooperation and willingness to share news materials are all that is required to keep the platform viable. Active members have the privilege to use materials posted on the website, provided proper credits are given to the original source. This allows them to expand their content and reach in an instant. They can also leverage the wider market base of the platform for the advertisements. And all for free, and while impinging on the editorial independence and operational autonomy of individual members. More importantly, revenues generated collectively through the news commons will be shared based on an approved formula by platform members over and above of what they raise for their own newspapers. For prospective clients and advertisers, here is one-stop shop for a cost-efficient marketing and sales tool. No need to do a shotgun approach when you can target with bullseye precision your markets demographically and geographically. The News Common has the widest reach by any local media outlets combined, with a network of over 70 community press scattered all over the archipelago. Their annual collective reach in terms of website visits is 45 million and 24 million in terms of Facebook followers. You will see those facts and figures in beautiful graphics later. So, where are we now after the seed planting? Well, the seed survived the delicate stage of germination and grew to sprout and has become a small, sturdy plant. But the hardest part of the cycle is just beginning. Will it finally morph into another plant? Well, it all depends on how much sunshine and needed care it will get in the process. So it is with the PPI News Commons. After today's launch, it will take literally the whole community of PPI members to move it to success. After all, it was created only by one's choice. One last point I'd like to make. PPI News Common is not the panacea for all the woes of the community press. We did not intend that to be. Rather, it is just one proactive response to the challenges buffeting our industry. It is a simple innovation that can spell a big difference in how we do things to survive in the unforgiving market out there. We cannot just be managing decline. We must invest in our future and retool. The 21st century is a highly technological society. The already busy pace of scientific and technological advances will certainly be going to be much faster than before. We either be equipped for it or be swept away by the rushing torrent of the future. Enough from me now. Thank you all. Over to you, Kier. Thank you.
A lot of you probably know Care as the one who helped you sa websites ninyo. Especially yung mga beneficiaries ng digitalization project.
Siyempre, equally proud si Priscilla.
Yeah.
Hello. Good afternoon po sa lahat. I'm Care Labrador, the one who's responsible for the development of the user interface and the design of the PPI Commons and everything how it works. So I'm segregating site, consolidating the stories and articles of all the PPI members into one platform. So kung magtatanong po kayo, paano ba ito na-create? So ina-upload po ba lahat ito isa-isa sa bawat members ng PPI? Kinukuha ba siya isa-isa? So basically po, hindi po siya ganun. Initially, ang project po na to is kumukuha po kami ng mga COVID-19 related stories, then we uploaded it sa PPI Commons. But Sir Ronnie po, may mas malaki po siyang goal for this. So gusto niya magpunta po, makonsolidate po lahat ng stories and let the users access it doon sa PPI Commons sa site. Like for Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. So I suggested na we take the advantage of the use of the RSS technology. So RSS feed to post po yung ginamit namin. Since free po siya, hindi na kailangan i-upload ng mga members isa-isa sa PPI Commons na site yung mga stories nila. So they just need to upload their own content sa website nila and we will do all the crawling and automatically ma-upload this sa PPI Commons na site. Basta meron po silang RSS feed dun sa site nila na naka-install. So this automatically converts and upload all the RSS feed items from PPI members' websites to PPI Commons website as a post or a page. So once na ma-crawl po ng PPI Commons, ma-detect niya na meron pong latest stories from, for example, from Baguio Project, from Midland News or Mindanao Times, automatic po mag-a-appear siya dito sa website ng PPI. So papakita ko lang po siya kung paano siya gumagana. So ito po yung landing page ng PPI Commons. Ito pong banner, we have 4 latest stories from different parts of the Philippines, nationwide. So lahat po ng stories coming from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, mag-a-appear po dito yung top 4 trending stories. So kung ma-detect po ng system na binabasa po siya, na marami po nagbabasa ito for the site, so po yung mag-a-appear dito sa harap. And meron po kami dito na banner slider din. So itong slider naman po ito, random po niya display lahat ng stories from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao din. And the best part po dito na ginawa namin is we consolidated it from 4 na merong category na Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. So lahat po nang nandito sa Luzon stories, may kita nyo rin po dito sa taas, sa milig. Pag kinlik nyo po yan, lahat po ng mga members from Luzon, mag-a-appear na po dito. And yung mga master po nila, we included it from the site. So pag kinlik nyo po yan, pinyari, Baguio Chronicle, magre-redirect po siya sa site ng Baguio Chronicle. And yung traffic po nun, hindi lang po sa PPI Commons mapupunta. And the good thing about that is, sa Baguio Chronicle po sila mag-search ng mga stories. And asan dun yung mga stories ng Baguio Chronicle sa loob ng PPI Commons? Nandito po siya sa ilalim. So may nakita po kayong feed dito for this particular category, so the stories, yan po, yung mag-a-appear po dito lahat ng latest stories. Ngayon po, na-crawl niya is for balikas and yan. And pag kinig po natin yung story nila, hindi po yan bubukas sa Common. Magre-redirect po siya sa site ng balikas. And ano pong advantage nun? So sa particular website na po yan. Pag sa balikas po mapupunta yung page views and impressions, not just the PPI News Commons. And it's very effective when it comes to sa monetization and sa AdSense generation din po ng particular website. Going back po sa homepage po, display namin lahat ng members, contributing members ng PPI. So may kita niyo po dyan, lahat din po yan clickable and redirecting all dun sa kanya-kanya website. Yan po. And it's all working. For example, Sansar Pampanga. And redirect po siya. And may mga random stories din po, latest, and dito po yung mga AdSense, yung mga ad spaces po na nilagay namin. Kasi, to be honest po, hindi po capable ng PPI News Commons to earn sa AdSense dahil nga po, kinakonsolidate na po nila lahat ng stories ng PPI members. So, lahat po ng kinikita when it comes to impressions and page views, sa members po yan. So, we're just here po to be a platform for you para po mapakilala din po kayo sa national, sa national scale. And lastly, ayun, we embedded din po dito, it's part of the tech.ph, sir. Ayun, yan. Nilagay din po natin yan. So, magre-redirect din po itong mga stories na ito, directly po sa tech.ph. Yan. And lastly po, yun, sa footer namin, yung sa about po sa PPI News Commons and supported by Hans-Idle Foundation, a corporation. Yun lang po lahat, sir.
Thanks, Kier.
Thank you po.
Salamat ang Kier kasi kami ni Joyce, tech savvy, di ba? Pero naiintindihan namin. Pero sila talaga yung tumuto. Yung mag-team na yan, si Priscilla, tsaka si Kier, who are getting married next year. So,
Umili na kayo, mga naka-Pilipinyana.
Thank you. Hindi natin magagawa yan, Joyce. Yung pinabanggit ni Sir kanina na how they implemented, it's really, these guys did a lot of work and dirty work to be able to do that ambitious project.
Actually, more than the tech we're really grateful because Kier and Priscilla are here. But it's really yung kung paano mo i-convince isa-isa yung member newspapers na panahon na para mag-band together tayo. Hindi naman natin maikakailang mayabang journalista eh. Mayabang tayo. Diba? Kaya namin to, kaya namin on our own. Hindi natin kailangan mag-coordinate or mag-collaborate with other newspapers. Pero yung panahon natin, it's a different time now. In fact, we say we're fighting the fight of our lives. This is a matter of survival. Sabi nga ni Sir Ron, gusto ko yung concept niya na yan eh. We're just managing our, ano sabi mo Sir, what were we managing? We were managing our decline. Pinapatagal lang natin yung inevitable na babagsak talaga eh. All the signs are there, pababa ang subscription, pababa ang bilang ng circulation, pababa ang revenues, di ba? Shrinking newsrooms. Nung pandemic, lahat halos kinailangan mag-shift to digital. May nag-digital na hindi na nakabalik sa dyaryo, purely digital na lang. So, ito talaga, may altruism dito kasi ikaw sa sarili mo, alam mo na kailangan natin mag-band together para tulungan ang isa't isa. Hindi lang para sa sarili mo.
You cannot post things eternal. I remember very well, we talked about, the previous time, 10 years ago, but it's still here. The reason why, because there are innovations, not just by the PPI, but some other media organizations for our friends from NUJP, from the CNFR, from the local press clubs, from the beat organizations outside the capital. It's really important to stress that. Kasi walang journalism, walang community journalism, kung wala yung mga tao, especially those in the room today, in particular, how hard to work, painstaking work to keep journalism alive and survive for community journalists, di ba?
I think sa PPI News Commons, kung mapapansin ninyo, of course, PPI has members sa national dailies. Pero wala kaming pakialam doon. they're big enough to do what they have to do to survive. So talagang dito ang focus are the members ng community newspapers. Kasi tingin namin, yun talaga yung kailangan natin supportahan. Hindi lang dahil naaawa ka o gusto mo silang tulungan for the sake of tulong. Kung hindi malaki ang papel ng community newspapers sa mismo communities where they are. Diba? Yun yung news na hindi umaabot sa national. Pero yun actually yung balita importante sa mga tao na nagpo-consume ng news na yon. So, yun, tingin namin napaka-importante. And maganda yung business model. Tingin ko, hindi lang siya, kasi hindi naman pwedeng puro lang tayo binita doon. Tingin tayo kay chairman o sa business model.
With the others. Pero really, when you talk about revenues for revenue sharing for the Philippine Commons, all the monies that the Philippine Commons get will go directly to the Philippine members for sure. But one, of course, a little lang.
There's a formula. There's a formula for it. Na may quantity for the commons as a whole, dahil sa management ng website, maintenance ng tao, etc. But the rest talaga pupunta sa members. So if it earns, ang kikita dyan members. Actually, tatlong layers silang kikita. Nakikita ka dahil kung sino man yung mag-check sa News Commons, ang engagement, ang viewership ay pabalik sa websites ng sariling dyaryo. So hindi siya kinakount sa News Commons dahil aggregator siya. So pagdating sa AdSense, pagdating sa Google AdSense, for example, ang ads ay hindi sa News Commons kung hindi babalik siya sa dyaryo ng member natin. Balikas is actually a living proof dahil magkano yung kinita journal sa AdSense ninyo?
Hindi niya babanggitin kasi.
Hindi yan kalakihan. Hindi siya, let me make it clear, hindi pa kalakihan. But it is money that was not there to begin with. And they earned it. Herald Express.
Dexter.
Kahit nakatalikod si Dexter. Living proof yan na pwede kang kumita sa AdSense just by being here.
Yeah.
Iba pa yun yung nakukuha mo dahil may nag-place ng advertisement na targeted.
The driver makes kita at the same time, the one who markets it or sells an ad space also gets the mula as well. So that's really very important for them to stress that as altruistic platform also, not just commercial. And more of that when you visit the Philippine Commons na importante. Nabisitahin din naman yun. And share some of the stories.
Siguro ang importante, kung mapapansin ninyo, we mentioned earlier, we have a lot of corporate supporters for our event today. Would you want to mention some of them?
I'd like to mention.
Yeah, I'd like to mention.
Because some of them are actually watching. They're not even watching like by streaming Facebook. Streaming, of course, we already mentioned the Galatian Corporation,
And of course.
as our institutional partners, but we also have to thank the International Labour Organization, which is supporting the category of migratory stories to be announced later on in the awards program. Joyce?
Yeah,
You also have
San Miguel, I'm looking at the logo. San Miguel Corporation.
Century Park for big discounts on the rooms and the venue as well.
SM Investments.
Investments.
LDT Smart. Hindi ba ito monetary? Ito sa gamit.
Packet Wi-Fi.
Packet Wi-Fi.
We're going to wrap it up. Not today because it didn't
ITPFI.
Yeah.
SM Supermalls.
And Paco.
Platform.
Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Thank you po. Hindi makupunta sa akin yung choice.
Wait
Pero
lang namin.
mapupunta po sa some other projects na prepare. Remember, yung projects na binabanggit po, they're not just training programs. During disasters, remember, kumutok yung vulkan, kung nagkaroon ng pandemic, we gave some amounts to our members. It's also fair to see some amount also from the budget from the Education Corporation and some of the budgets to support ng PPI for this particular event. In the event, magkaroon tayo, wag naman, next number ready.
Pero bakit natin binabanggit yung mga corporate partners? Kasi yung News Commons, hindi lang siya good journalism. It's also commercially viable for the advertisers. Imagine now you can target sino yung gusto mong paglagyan ng ads. Dati kasi sabi ni Sir, tama yun Ang tawag ko na sir, parang bullet, shotgun approach ang ginagamit. Ngayon, kung gusto kong targetin lang newspaper sa Mindanao, napakadali kasi andyan lahat sa news commons. Kasama ka agad dito. So, pwede nilang i-target yung niche marketing na kailangan nilang gawin. They can easily do it sa news
And
commons.
just a caveat, we're not disrupting the operations of the individual news outlets. You can still go on with your daily operations and getting advertisers.
This is just for the
An
digital.
add-on, as we always say,
Yeah.
is an add-on. In the meantime, in-offer natin. Pero we're looking at long shot, short and long term, kung paano talaga siya kumita ng maayos for the members. Not just for PPI, but for community journals, including newspapers. That's for sure. On that note, we said a lot already in this comments and I hope you get to visit.
Yeah, please open your phones
Open
and
your phone.
check the website,
Yeah.
visit the website, it's up and running.
Yeah, because at this point, we're done with part one. We are going to take a short break and, enjoy some
Snacks.
which will
I
be
know,
served by
sure.
the waiters. And while we do that, 20 minutes and then we have to the other event,
Just the awarding
awarding.
proper.
Ayun. So, pwede pa kayo magtanong dahil sa thanking, pag gusto nyo tanong, how to advertise, perhaps live on Facebook. We're going to take a short break and we will be back in 20 minutes. Maraming salamat po for staying tuned for our part one.
Thank you, everyone.
Ayun, maraming salamat ulit for attending our twin events of the day. Papasalamat din tayo sa Legal Asia Corporation for particularly supporting this event. Civic Journalism Community Press Awards 25th edition. Back naman kayo, 25 years na siya, diba? So I remember, siyempre, PPI ako, I was with PPI 1997. The first awards program was staged in 1997, honoring the best of 1996. Always been yung previous year. Ay, magpapakilala ulit tayo, Joyce. Maraming salamat po sa ating mga guests. Siyempre, tawagin natin guests nasa Facebook, pero ata sa Zoom. So, those are watching us live via Zoom. Maraming salamat po. Ito lang po yung highlight ng aming event ngayon. Magpapakilala kami ulit. Let me just introduce ourselves now. My name is Ariel Sandalina. I'm the Executive Director and also the Head of the Training Operation and Special Projects of the Philippine Press Institute, also known as the National Association of Newspapers, since 1964. Kung hindi pa po kilala, especially yung mga nanonood sa atin sa Facebook, simplihan natin yung description ng PPI. Where there's KDP for broadcast, there's PPI for print. So we're considered the oldest professional media organization in the country since 1964. Just to begin, ito po pinapangalan doon. With me is...
I'm Joyce Banares, Executive Director of the Philippine Press Institute.
Sabi nga natin kanina, Joyce, we're so tired of seeing people on spokesperson process. At least we're seeing them in the flesh right now. And hopefully a lot more next year. We'll do a full blast in April next year. So just to remind our supporters for these events today, we will start asking for your support again as early as January at the best of our efficient admin staff. Nire-remind kami to remind you.
May mga bagong mukha, bagong dating.
Oo, yeah.
Siguro, i-mention natin ang isa. Pag kanina hindi ko nakita, ano ko nakita si Professor Ives Sanposa.
Yeah, one of members of the screening committee.
Ang gagawin more, hindi natin napagkakalina, but that's here from PUP.
Brendan over there, yeah. PUP is also one of the screening committees, which will be properly introduced later on by Ms. Ann Lopez. The person friends from John, Nico, and Joel. Joel also is one of the board members of the board justice. All right. At this point, there's a consent natin to give his welcome remarks. Please welcome again the chairman and president of the Press Institute, also publisher of the Standard today, Mr. Rolando Rolling Escotillo.
Thank you, Ariel, Joyce. Everyone, hello again. Good afternoon. We now have reached the climax of today's event, the PPI Civic Community Press. This is the 25th edition of this annual recognition of the outstanding works of journalists in the countryside. It has gone a long way since it was launched in 1996, and the first awardees were named the following year. Am I correct? Okay. I wasn't born yet. Okay. From an initial handful of entries limited to local daily stories, this awards program expanded to cover the weekly newspaper. And now, as the technology bug bites big into news outlets, perhaps it is in order to consider a wider scope of awards categories to include digital media. Well, it's up to you. The awards program was originally aimed at raising the standards of the community press, not only for editorial excellence, but also for its role as a catalyst for local development. It has remained so for the last 26 years. The strong support from our partners and sponsors has enabled us to forge ahead with competitions. Allow me to make a special mention of our principal partner, Nickel Asia, the person of our friend, JB Milo, whose generous assistance made this annual event possible over the past decade. Also, there will be no winners in awarding day if not for the secretarial work of our friends at the Asian Institute of Journalism and Communication. To Nickel Asia and IJC, and the rest of our sponsors and partners. On behalf of the Pal family, thank you for believing in the civic-oriented awards program. The awards program is one way to manifest our support for an important part of the fabric of democracy in society, the community press. The unique role it plays in the social, economic, and cultural development of a community cannot be overemphasized. Studies have shown that people in the countryside give more credence to local news. Their trust is based on the belief that local news present factual cases of what's actually going on in their community. They find less bias and hidden agenda in news reporting. I'm not talking about opinion. News reporting. And why not? Local news is about their city, surroundings, and neighborhood that hardly, if at all, a regular fare in national media. Local folks live and work in the same area, keeping them more connected to each other and to their community. That includes local journalists who have to cover people and institutions they know personally and are familiar with. This keeps reporting straightforward, lest they lose their stock in trade, and that is trust and credibility. In my book, that role makes every local paper deserving of an award. The spirit of community award. You might want to consider that. More so, if we consider that it operates in a very challenging situation. We are all aware of the secular shift to digital by readers and advertisers, and the resulting damage to the business models that have sustained the community press for decades. In many communities, there is not enough revenue to pay for the public service journalism that local newspapers have historically provided. Still, they are out there continuously playing their role against all odds, hoping that somehow good fortunes will eventually shine on the horizon. Some of these brave souls behind the never say die local papers are here with us today. Can you give yourselves a big hand? Among you will shortly be declared the winners of 2021 PPI Civic Community Press Award. Those who won't make the cut doesn't mean you are a loser. It just so happens that PPI lacks the budget to give everyone a flat or profit. That's true. Anyway, levity aside, your effort to keep your respective paper going is nothing short of heroic. No matter how big or small your operations are, the fact that you persistently uphold your civic and journalistic mission is truly an exemplary accomplishment and achievement. It only showcases a great deal of your determination, hard work, and commitment. In that sense, you are a winner in every sense of the word. Congratulations, Lord.
Thanks, Chairman. Short but sweet. Tapos meron konting parinig, ano? Okay lang yun. Mas smiling as ang search. Pero sabi nga natin, all winners naman kasi hindi ka naman magiging member ng PPI kung hindi ka magaling. Oh, totoo ba, Joyce?
Oo naman. Tama naman yun.
We have our own.
We uphold certain
Kung
standards.
I remember pala, speaking of excellence, sabi ni Sir Ronnie, was it last year? O ito lang, dapat na magkaroon ng training program on layout and design, which you never had, I
Yeah,
think.
never.
Yeah, I remember
They
pala.
also have over
Yeah.
numbers.
Which is also connected with viability. Kasi when you redesign, etc., attract more readers, attract more advertisers as well. Diba? So yun. Thanks, sir. Sir Ronnie, maraming salamat po sa wisdom. Speaking of wisdom, umalis sa kanina, nagmadali. So,
Nagmadali dahil nag-number crunching.
yeah, kailangan natin yan. But he has saved some wisdom for this particular part too. I'm gonna call a good friend of everybody, good friend of PPI. Again, ginagit ko na yung a mouthful of his position, but you know, Mr. J.D. Bailo. Hindi ko yes, sir.
Oh my God.
Alam mo yung strong talaga para sa kanya.
Good afternoon. Before I go into the meat of my short remarks, I just wanted you to know that when Sir Rolly mentioned the fact that there was no budget for more awards, I asked the comms head of Nickel Asia if next year we can give a plaque to all nominees, to all finalists. Just we have to give something more. Yeah. Kasi parang diba yung sa state's Oscar nominee ka lang, honor na yun.
Yeah.
Diba? You nominate 10 times even if you never win it for best actor, that's an honor. So I think we can discuss that. I can discuss it. We would take it out of her. We would take it out of her bonuses for this. Anyway, it's an honor for us, for Carl and I, for Nat to be here. As a corporate citizen, we know that national development cannot be achieved either by government alone or by private sector alone, but it's a partnership. And in our case, more than national development, democracy, a certain Jefferson, my grandfather, Thomas Jefferson, once said that he would rather have a state with no government, but with the free press. And knowing how learned Jefferson was, I guess he knew what he was talking about. I'm happy to announce that the NAC budget for my group, the Sustainability Public Affairs, what else? I forget it now, was approved while I was outside. This included an allocation for PPI. There's a 100% increase in our love and affection for you. The love and affection. As to how it will translate to pesos, sensitive depend on the war in the Ukraine. Because as you know, when Russia invaded Ukraine, the good news for nickel prices was it shot up. But we have nothing to do with the war. We are not warmongers, I'm just stating a fact. So 100% increase in our love and affection for PPI, but I will work with Carl to make sure that we can augment what we can augment in 2023. Of course, appreciation to AIJC. Without AIJC, what's there to do today? And I'm happy to see, for the first time in a long time, old friends, the Sir Alex Ray and his loving partner, Irma, where's the birthday? Oh, there. Sir Demto, of course, and the Right Honorable Congressman Adrian Amato. I was telling Sir Adrian that when I see people like him elected to office against the odds of money, traditional politicians, my faith lives on in the country.
Yeah.
And to close, this is more an honor for me as a Nickel Asia representative. It also brings some personal satisfaction because I always try to recall to myself that it was at Coke when Bobby Manzano, the late Bobby Manzano, she hasn't arrived yet, that's why it's late. When Bobby Manzano came to me and said, "Hey JB, baka you want to support the PPI?" Of course, at that time, we still had Jake Makasayat. Ermin, well, not the late Ermin, no? Ermin, also, who just passed away, no, yeah, Joe Pavia, and then, Gary, and the one who's teaching at Lyceum. Yes, Santos. All of these media greats were with us then. So there was no debate between Bobby and I that we had to support PPI. My regret was when we left Coke. Coke did not see the value in PPI. But I'm proud of the fact that my bosses at Nicolasia had no questions about approving my proposal to continue with the support for PPI. And that's the reason why I brought Carl here, because when I'm sent off to graze in the land of the retired, at least Carl knows why we have to continue supporting the PPI. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Bad news for Carl kasi iaawan. Pero thank you so much in advance.
Pero sa leave of retirement, di ba, I told Sir JB ganyan, nakita ko siya, may programming pa lang na. It looks good, no?
Yeah.
Very healthy, and hopefully, sir, more blessings for Nicolasia, for your team, and para mag-overflow naman sa PPI. Di ba tama ba?
100% love is good, but we also need cash.
Yeah.
I help you.
Sir, tandaan mo, di ba, binanggit mo kanina, marami tayong babayaran, AIJC, screening committees, tapos yung mga members na hindi mananalo. Oh,
Next
di ba?
year daw, baka.
At sa hindi ng flags, meron tayong flags, Joyce. Pero dapat sa likod din, dapat meron ng cash, no?
Next time.
Kawawa to si Carl.
Carl, mo.
Mag-isip ka na ngayon, meron pa hanggang December. Oo, may January po na yan. Alright, maraming salamat po, Sir J.D. Bernal. You know, short but sweet again, pero yung gusto ni Sir J.D. Always love having him in our events. Kasi hindi pa ulit-ulit yung sinabi niya, except for the rolo niya kanina, which we don't get tired of listening yung nagad niya si Lolo Thomas Jefferson. Tama, sir? Di ba? Oo. Kasi po naman yan. Pero there's always something new to learn and get from him. Di ba? Sa mga events natin. At this point, Joyce,
Only one more.
alam mo, si Malu na yan. Gusto niya na lang malaman si Frank din. Frank, alam ko si Frank, patient din. Okay. Gusto na natin, Frank, ha? Okay. All right. Ito na. We have the message first, of course, from a very good friend. Pero natin ang International Labour Organization. So, the UK were headed to AIJC to support us for the additional category in our staple of awards.
One of our special categories.
Pero sana tuloy-tuloy na, sir. No? All right. We'd like to introduce to you Mr. Pasini Mamanabon. This is going to be a long title, but just going to mention this. Joyce, ikaw ba sa Joyce? Lumabo yung mga kapitid na pandemic.
Mr. Macarabon is the National Project Coordinator of Ship-to-Shore Rights Southeast Asia of the International Labour Organization Country Office for the Philippines.
Sir, aming salamat po.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the ILO Country Office for the Philippines, I'd like to allow me to acknowledge and congratulate the PPI, Philippine Press Institute, especially the chairman, Mr. Stabilio, Mr. Rolly, Sir Ariel and your team, and of course, AIJC for all the hard work. Good afternoon again. Medyo nilalamig ako kasi last year when we had the awarding ceremony, we were just wearing shirts and perhaps some of us were wearing shorts. Hindi naman kasi sakit ang camera na. So ngayon medyo kailangan natin ng jacket kasi medyo dito. Anyway, so you're probably wondering why the International Labour Organization is here. ILO being a labor standard setting agency of the United Nations, I think mas relevant pa nga ang UNESCO because they have the communication section. But ILO really sees it as a strategic partnership with PPI, with the AAGC, to make sure that labor migration is discussed, is the stories of our OFWs are being heard and are being told. from different levels. Of course, you have the national outlets, but also community journalism is really one way to get to the bottom line of the sources of the story. So the ILO has implemented the migration flagship program. We work very closely with the National Union of Journalists from the Philippines. We've also worked with a number of universities here, the UP, other universities that offer journalism and communication. We're working with them. But it's not just about starting them young. It's also making sure that they're employed after they graduate. Some of them will end up working with national dailies, but many of them will actually go back to their communities. That's where they're going to write. That's very important for us. This has been an issue that was raised by NJP, what stories sell. No? And sometimes mapapaisip kayo, right? Migration really sells. Because pag nakikita niyo sa social media, no, the stories that actually get the most views or readership, yung mga stories ng criminal offenses, victims of exploitation. Pero hindi talaga babanggit yung ibang stories, no, yung lives, the decisions, the relationships, no, that have to do with one of the household leaving to find employment and augment the income of the household. So we're very happy that you have the innovations such as the PPI News Commons, no, with a target of 45 million. That's a very powerful target audience. But for the ILO, no, we are also thinking very strongly about finding entry points for these innovations. As a matter of fact, I'm closely working with the Catholic Church. Hussein working with the Catholic Church, basically to tap for migration ministries, because these are, the ministries will have access to the communities. They have materials and tools, which are produced by actually migrants themselves, which relate to the issues of migrants. So these are really needs-based. And I think having a community journalists as a partner, as a fourth estate, making sure that we hold the duty bearers accountable. Hindi lang nito may improve yung policies, yung programs and services, but really finding what the real stories are. One last point, I know that we have to wrap up, but during the pandemic, marami tayong narinig na despite the pandemic, despite COVID-19, marami pa rin sa ating kababayan ang ayaw bumalik ng Pilipinas. Hindi dahil sa ayaw nila, but siguro marami pa silang utang na kailangan bayaran. They had, sinangla nila yung kanilang lupa, binenta nila yung kanilang kalabaw. At ito ay babalik din sa mga issues natin sa community, kung saan meron pa rin exploitation on recruitment fees being charged to our OFWs. So ito yung mga stories that don't come out sa big dailies or sa social media. And I hope with this partnership, we continue to tap the expertise, the network of our community journalists so that the stories actually come out as they should. Thank you very much.
Please lang tayo ulit. Thanks for saying, yung isa rin during the time yung pinag-details yung kanina, the lots of stories of migration that are underreported. So it's about time that we put all these stories to the fore, and thanks to ILO for shedding light on the importance of migration stories or narratives, more particularly on the ground.
In Philippines kasi it's quite uniquely situated. Kung ang element of news natin ay proximity, yung proximity natin sa lahat ng bansa, kasi lahat ng may OFWs, malapit ka agad sa atin, diba? Something happens in the Middle East, you have over 1 million OFWs there. Pasok na pasok yan sa
Correct. And we're talking about Filipino families here. We're very close to our hearts, diba? At this point, I'd like to call our friend from AIJC. She is the research director or vice president for research of the Asian Institute for Journalism and Communication. Please welcome Ms. Ana Lopez, who is going to give the project review and introduce the screening committees and work of Chantis. This is for the 20.
Yeah, Joyce. Good afternoon, everyone. It has been a privilege for the Asian Institute of Journalism and Communication to partner with the Philippine Press Institute since 1996 in facilitating and coordinating the implementation of this annual awards program. That's 26 years. The awards program with this distinct civic journalism framework now includes for the second year a category on the best in reporting on migration issues. And we thank the International Labour Organization for supporting this category. As technical secretariat, AIJC coordinates with 3 regional screening committees as they screen 1 year's copies of daily and weekly community newspapers to come up with the finalists in the 6 categories. From the screening committees, the finalists go to the board of judges of the 12 winners, 6 from the dailies and 6 from the weeklies, all member publications of PPI. As you can see, the selection of the winners is all in the hands of the screeners and judges. Before I introduce the screening committees and the board of judges, let me acknowledge the invaluable role of a member of the AIJC Technical Secretariat, Ms. Lori Jean Macagay, almost single-handedly coordinated with PPI, the screening committees, and the board of judges. Thank you, Lori. And now it gives me distinct pleasure to introduce to you the members of the 3 regional screening committees and the board of judges. We have 3 regional screening committees. 1, the Luzon Screening Committee. Coordinator is Dr. Hemedy S. Mora, College of Communication, Polytechnic University of the Philippines. Member, Professor Benjamin J. Valdez, Chair and Assistant Professor, Department of Journalism, PPI. And member, Ms. Irish Shane Aguas, PUP Journalism student. For the Visayas Screening Committee, the committee coordinator is Professor Felipe F. Salvosa II, Journalism Program Coordinator, Department of Communication and Media Studies, University of Santo Tomas. Members, Professor Ramon Royan Doyan and Professor Nathaniel Melican. Committee coordinator is Dr. Paz Diaz. She's watching us online. Vice President for Academics and Dean of the AIJC Graduate School. We have 3 members who are AIJC graduate students. Dr. Janet S. Tibaldo, all the way from Baguio. And Ms. Faye Leia Sichon, also from Baguio. They are faculty members of the St. Louis University. And the 3rd member is Mr. Jimmy Domingo, lecturer, University of the Philippines and La Salle University. Our board of judges. Our chairperson is Mr. Alfonso G. Pedroche. Former president, Philippine Press Institute, and former editor-in-chief of Filipino Star Ngayon, judge for Best Edited Community Newspaper. Members of the Board of Judges, Ms. Adele Lizelle Archua, Professor, Department of Journalism, College Communications Legal Asia Corporation, Judge for Best in Business and Economic Reporting. Mr. Joel D. Adriano, Regional Coordinator for the Region Science and Development Network, or SciDev.net, Judge for Best in Environmental Reporting. Our next two judges couldn't make it today. Mr. Ezra Akayan, Chairperson, Photojournalist Center of the Philippines, Judge for Best in Photojournalism. Mr. Jonathan Frederick De Santos, Chairperson, National Union of Journalists of the Philippines, and Head of the News Section, Philstar.com, Judge for Best in Reporting on Migration Issues. So here are judges or screeners. I'm going to ask.
Thanks, and thank you. Thanks, AIJC. Lori, salamat.
Umaakit na tayo.
Akit sa tabi. Napagod na kami sa baba. Akit sa tabi. Alright. Joyce, ito yung pinakahintay natin. Pero speaking of Bridget, just imagine how the scrutiny ng mga screeners and judges, sa PPI pa lang, all year round, nababalidate na yung mga copies talaga. So, there are several layers bago pa papunta yung mga kopya ninyo sa screening committee, and finally, sa super board, as we call it, the board of judges, or national board of judges. Yeah.
I did that before.
Right.
So, 2 years. So, grabe. As in, grabe. Yung conference room namin sa standard ng buong ng Jari. Ang dumi-dumi ng kawan.
Pre-pandemic.
Pre-pandemic. Pwede ka dito mag-shower kasi hindi yung dumi-dumi mo. Hindi ko yung... Ay, of course. Of course.
Alright. Ngayon po, binagay ni Sir JD kanina, yung mga pangit naman ng word ng talunan, Pero all we are presenting here at this point, presenting at this point, all the finalists in various categories for this 25th year edition of the Civic Journalism Community Press Awards, all entries screened the previous year. I'd like to call our friend from the Asia Corporation, Sir JB, to be on stage, the chairman of the Board of Judges, Sir Alfred Roche, the chairman of PPI, Sir Rolly Estabile, and also Ann Lopez to represent AIJC as we presented the plaques to all our finalists this year. Ay, nako, pwede ko lang banggitin na. Wala yung best grace. Last year kasi, meron yan eh. Ako, Sir Jake, isang nakasya siya nag-judge. Hindi naman every time.
Every time you win, yes.
No. Wait, go up. Now, good that you mentioned. I remember one of those editions ng Community Press Awards. Sanala kong main star award. Ito si Jonah nag-react. Kasi daw binayaran ko yung award. Sabi ko, well, pera pang bayad ng ano niya para huwag ka na award. Pero I think I deserve it. I worked so well. It was so expensive. Bow tie pa lang sa hindi ba? Siyempre yung nag-judge pa naman siya reklamo, pero walang cash prize yun. Ano lang? Ito, lahat lang pala. Katuwaan lang yun. Next year, babalik natin yung mga frills in our event. So, ako, excited na kayo exhibit. Assembly, Sir JB.
Saka next year, may I remind everyone, is the 1 year before we turn 60 years old.
Right.
PPI is turning 60 years old, 2024. So we have to prepare a lot next year.
Yan yung project na babanggitin mo.
Yeah.
Kay Sir JB sa YouTube ba?
Jimmy, sa tayo mamaya.
Usap tayo niyan. Alright, now is the time to present our finalists. As I said, we start with the weekly finalists. And
Tamang kulay.
first in the roster of the weekly finalists,
We have the Mindanao Observer.
represented by
Presented by Congressman
Ray Garcia as well. Yeah, Ray.
This is for the weekly category.
Our next weekly finalist is
Herald Express.
represented by our no less than
Our trustee.
trustee for Luzon. One of our two trustees in Luzon, Sir Dexter, also publisher of Herald Express, and Ma'am Rosa.
Our next finalist for the weekly category is the Bohol Chronicle.
Since there is no representative from Bohol Chronicle, I'd like to accept this plaque of appreciation on behalf of Bohol Chronicle. Our next weekly finalist is Baguio Chronicle.
In full force, Baguio Chronicle is here.
Publisher, Malu, the first Baguio Chronicle. Angel also as well is here. And Mia as well.
Our next finalist for the weekly category is Metro Post. Represented by the trustee for Visayas,
Alam mo
Sir Alex
ito,
Pal.
ibubukid ko to si Alex. Alam mo si Alex makulit yan. Kung finalist sila, sasabihin niya sa akin sa messenger, ano ba, winner ba kami? Ako, magaling ako magtago ng sekreto. So hindi ko sasabihin kay close friends ko. So hindi niya alam. Pero alam niya finalist siya. Hanggang finalist ng ba yun? Hindi ko alam eh. Hindi ko talaga alam.
And last but not the least, our finalist for the weekly category is Palawan News. Sir Alex Pal.
Now it's time to present the plaques of appreciation or certificate of merit to the daily finalists. We start with Sunstar Pampanga. There's no representative from Pampanga who accept this certificate of merit on,
Sunstar, another
Cebu. Okay, on behalf of Sunstar Pampanga, we accept this certificate of merit.
Wala yung Kabalen, pero naandito ang Sunstar Cebu. Finalist for the daily category.
Presented by third. Okay.
Ay, important si ate.
Don't get this.
Gusto ko yung ganyan. Try natin mamaya for yan. Kaya rin natin.
Congratulations to our weekly finalists. Now,
The last one for
Yeah,
our
award the
daily
certificate.
category.
daily category. Hindi pa.
Daily.
First in the daily category.
The last one. Last in the daily
Alam ko
category.
pala to. Ay, oo nga pala. Alam ko madami.
Siya yung
Okay.
naka-best
Siyempre ko naman, Mindanao Times. Our PPI Vice President, trustee for Mindanao, also Editor-in-Chief of Mindanao Times. So,
Yung magpipina.
congratulations to all our finalists. We will request our presenters
To stay.
on stage.
All our winners.
Salamat po.
Later, we would ask everyone to come down.
All right.
Stay there, sir.
Now review namin ni Joyce dito.
For the weekly category,
Okay, weekly category. Here are we ready. Here are the finalists for the weekly category of Best in... Para sa
teka lang, nahanap namin ba sa queue?
Best in Migration Stories by International Youth Organization. Here are the nominees. And the winner is Baguio Chronicle in the weekly category, reporting on migration issues.
Ganyan ka-equip yung screening, ano? Kahit na madaming nag-send ng materials, sometimes
Next year, lalakihan na namin yung stage. Oo. Congratulations, Baguio Chronicle, winner in the weekly category for reporting immigration issues. Now we get to the winner of the daily category.
the finalists for the daily category.
Yeah, let's look at the screen for our nominees. Sunstar Pampanga, Mindanao Times. And the winner is Mindanao Times.
Kami yung cash prize, hindi lang yung pang-video-joke.
So apart from the trophy, the paper also gets 20,000 pesos. Congratulations, Baguio Chronicle and Mindanao Times. We now go to our second category. Photojournalism. We begin with announcing the winner for the finalists, the nominees for the weekly category. Herald Express, Metro Post.
That's it,
Dalawa lang. Higit ang labanan. And the winner is Metro Post.
That's the win.
That's it, ready yan. And of course, Irma. Hi, Irma.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Ay, pinapapili lang siya kung alin ang gusto niya. Yung trophy or
You're my And now we go to the daily category, the best in photojournalism. Here are the nominees, the finalists. Sansar Pampanga, Sansar Cebu, Mindanao Times, and the winner is Sansar Cebu.
Congratulations, Sunstar Cebu.
And Mindanao Times for that category as well. Now we go to our third category.
Best environmental reporting.
We begin with the weekly finalists or nominees. Weekly category. Palawan News, Mindanao Observer, and the winner is Palawan News.
Sir Nelson, kung may video kita pa na yan.
The editor-in-chief.
Yes. Congratulations.
Philippine. Yeah. We have Sansa Pampanga, Mindanao Times. And the winner is Mindanao Times.
Bali, yun yung napapatalunan ng Mindanao Times. Dalawa na.
Congratulations, Mindanao Times.
Congratulations
We now go to our fourth category.
for business and economic reporting. Our finalists for the weekly category.
Yeah, finalists for the week category, Best Business Economic Reporting, Herald Express, Mindanao Observer,
And the winner
and
is...
the winner is Herald Express!
Pangalawang akyat na ni Dexter. Congratulations!
Congratulations! Ganda ng barong ni Dexter. Oo.
Alam niya yata mga yan. Naramdaman niya.
Naramdaman nila, pero wala.
Wala kang panay. For our daily nominees
Daily nominees,
for business and
economic
economic
reporting,
congratulations, Dexter. Our nominees are Sunstar Pampanga,
and Sansar Cebu, and Mindanao Times, and the winner is Sansar Cebu.
So yung Sunstar Cebu, yung dalawang panalo na rin ito.
By the way, ang Sunstar Cebu was one of the first newspapers that was inducted in the Hall of Fame way back 1990. 5 years after the war. Bagong Bilang Warrior is also a famer. Pero lalaban ang Bagong Bilang Warrior next year. Yeah.
Now we move to our next category for the best editorial page.
Here are the nominees in the weekly category. Baguio Chronicle, the Bohol Chronicle, and the winner is Baguio Chronicle!
Bravo, tumayo ka na. Ayaw na tumayo. Congratulations, Baguio
Baguio
Chronicle.
Chronicle,
Nakakadalawa na rin po ang Baguio Chronicle. I'm just keeping tabs kung sino yung nakadalawa na. For daily category for best editorial page.
here are the nominees. Sansar Pampanga, Sansar Cebu, Mindanao Times, and the winner is Sansar Cebu!
Pangatlo na yan. Third page. Sobra na daw sabi ni Sir Al.
And we're down to our last category.
This is the...
Fourth, Best Edited Paper. Here are the nominees in the weekly category. Best Edited Paper. Baguio Chronicle, the Bohol Chronicle, and the winner is Baguio Chronicle!
Frank, tumayo ka na raw. Tumayo ka na.
Congratulations, Baguio Chronicle! Congratulations. Category Best Edited Community Newspaper. Here are the nominees. Sansa Pampanga, Sansa Cebu, and the winner is Sanstar Pampanga. I'd like to
Because walang Sanstar Pampanga.
award on behalf of Sanstar Pampanga, but perhaps Sanstar Cebu
Maybe Sanstar Cebu would like to
accept the award on behalf of Sanstar Pampanga. Belong to the same Sanstar family, Joyce. Congratulations, Sanstar Pampanga. And sa lahat po ng nanalo, maraming salamat po sa inyo for giving us excellence, for giving the public journalistic excellence that the public deserves. And sa lahat po ng finalists natin, maraming salamat po sa inyo lahat. Thanks very much, Eco Asia Corporation, thanks for Hans Howell Foundation, International Labor Organization. But we have to have all the winners on stage right now. All winners, please bring your trophies. Okay, we start with the weekly winners
all
first.
the weekly winners will be asked to go on stage.
And later kasama na yung mga screening committees, mga judges.
Weekly winners, Baguio Chronicle, Metro Post, Palawan News.
Baguio Chronicle.
Okay.
Retake for Baguio
Retake
Chronicle.
for Baguio
There's a
Chronicle.
retake photo opportunity for Baguio Chronicle before we ask all the weekly finalists to go on stage.
Baguio Chronicle first.
Bulit yata for Baguio Chronicle. Nabagsak yung camera ni Rod. Di gumana. Nabura lahat ng photos natin. Di naman.
Photo or it did not happen.
Take two.
Now please don't go down. Sir Frank, balik po. All the weekly winners.
All the weekly winners.
Baguio Chronicle, Metro Post, Palawan News, Herald Express.
Alright. Weekly winners first.
Kompleto ba?
Oh,
Sir Dento.
kailangan po gawin namin po kasi magkakaroon po kami ng press release on this. So, yeah.
Sa kapag natuloy ang ating coffee table mo,
Oh, yes.
unang hybrid.
Ayan.
Kung saan pa kaliwa. Mamalo, medyo ba ng magaling?
Weekly winners.
Tumingin dun sa may film. Yung isang masaya naman,
Sa masaya.
isang wacky.
Video.
Isang pagkaway.
Raise the trophies for the video. Congratulations, all daily winners on stage, please. Daily winners this time.
Winners, Mindanao Times, Sunstar Cebu, Sunstar Pampanga.
And by the way, you can get the boxes for your trophies at the secretariat. Meron po yung boxes para when you travel and
Sunstar Cebu.
review.
And Mindanao Times. Grabe, aming bigat na bigat sa trophy. Yes.
All daily winners.
Paano yung Sunstar? Tatlong trophy yung dadalhin niya. Ang dalawa lang. Baka hindi kayanin yung tatlo. Bigat na. We need winners. Please join on stage.
On behalf of the Philippine Press Institute, please have been your host, Ariel Sabelino.
And Joyce Banares.
Please join us again next year for our event. It's going to be April 2022.
Baguio Chronicle, Metro Post, Palawan News. Join on stage, everyone.
Thank you very much, Legal Asia Corporation, Hansan Foundation, Century Park, San Miguel Corporation,
SM Investments, PLDT Smart, ICTSI, SM Supermalls, and Pacor. Ma'am, salamat, Ms. Twinkle Valdez, stay with us until the end.
Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat at sa lahat po nanonood sa atin via Facebook Live streaming and via Zoom. Thank you very much for joining us in this milestone event today. And we also maybe request our sponsors, our supporters,
Who are still here to join
to join us in the photo
on
op.
stage.
Yeah,
Ma'am
on stage.
Twinkle, si
John,
John is still here.
ILO,
ILO, HSL, Legal Asia, Sir JB, one more photo op, please. With the sponsors. Ma'am Twinkle, sa stage po. Winners, huwag mo nang bababa. Wait lang. Sponsors, please join them. Carol, Sir JB, Sir Roddy, balik po sa stage. Miss Twinkle.
we'd like to thank also our production and technical team,
Ma'am Twinkle.
here at the best, Risa, Priscilla, Rod, Sheila. Maraming salamat sa ating secretary ng production team. Yay! Tayo mamaya pa-picture din tayo.
Alex, umakyat po kayo ng stage.
Meron po tayong photo wall din sa labas. Oo.
Mag-photo po.
Pinaghirapan din namin yung photo booth.
Ma'am Twinkle, on stage po. Si John, wala na no? Saka si Nico. I think
Masay, please join ILO.
AIGC, please, on stage.
Please on stage.
The judges who are still with us today.
Judges and screeners at the same
Akala
time.
mo, Adela.
Please join.
Akit ka doon.
Ma'am Hemati, Ma'am Melanie, please.
Ipe, Sir Ipe,
Sir
please.
Ipe, Joel. Yeah.
Mamaya pansin natin sila lahat, sir, kasi project team naman. Everyone on stage.
Everyone on
Professor
stage.
Hemati, please on
Our
stage.
esteemed screeners, board of judges,
Sige ma'am,
and
on
our
stage po.
supporters and sponsors. Maraming salamat po ulit. Okay, babagatin naman dito ang ating mga supporters and sponsors kayo.
Pinit na lang po sa likod.
Thank you very much, Legal Asia Corporation, Hansan Foundation,
ILO, San Miguel Corporation, Century Park Hotel, SM Investments, PLDT Smart, ICTSI, SM Supermalls, and Pacor.
Maraming salamat po ulit sa iyo. Mabuhay kayo. Until next year, everyone, congratulations to our winners.
Mag-upo kayo muna nila, magkakasya rin po kayo.
Next year, lalakihan na namin yung stage.
Hanggang hindi bumabagsak yung stage, kasya po tayo. Absorbing the strength of that stage. Mabuhay! Ang community press!
Hello. Yung hindi nakapanood ng twin events natin ngayon, they can always go back to refer to the YouTube channel ng PPI for the entire proceedings and events.
Meron tayong isang videographer dito. Naghahanap siya ano daw pwede niyong sigaw. Mabuhay ka na. Mabuhay ang malayang pamamahayag.
2, 3.
Take one yan kasi totoo yung nag-roll. Nag-practice na
Practice lang yun.
Wait lang ha. Totoo na.
When you're ready, sige, on your cue.
On his cue.
Three, two, one, energy, and go!
Take two, dahil sumapit siya sa upuan. I'm so sorry for that. Comedy talaga to. Ano ba?
Okay, rolling tayo.
Ang galing niya yung
Energy, and